The Workflow Builder visual editor in Kamala Document Management for Cloud lets you customize the appearance and functionality of your workflows within a single space, all without writing a line of code. Let's say you've applied a workflow to your documents, but it doesn't quite match your process. Maybe it needs an extra review step, a renamed state, or an approval routed to a different team. Changes like these used to mean writing or editing code manually. With a Visual Builder editor and Kamala Document Management, you can make them through a visual interface instead. For this video, let's take an example of a marketing team that publishes campaign briefs in Confluence. Their current workflow moves a brief from draft to published after one approval. Now, they want to add a review step in between, so the brand team checks each brief before it's published. First, open the workflow. Go to your Confluence space, select Kamala Document Management under Space Apps, find the campaign brief workflow, and click the edit icon under Actions. This opens the Visual Builder editor. On one side is the Workflow panel, where you make your edits. On the other is the Workflow Navigator, which shows your workflow as a flowchart. The panel is contextual, so what you see depends on what you selected. Click into a state, and the panel switches to the state view for that state. You can move around the workflow either way. Click a state lozenge directly in the Navigator, or use the Workflow, State, and Parameter buttons to jump to what you want to edit. If you'd rather see the underlying code at any point, the Code Editor icon switches you over to the JSON view. The editor works in Confluence's dark mode too. Start with the workflow itself. Select the workflow name and click Edit. Update the description to note the new review step, and while you're here, add a content label so the workflow only applies to the pages you intend. This team labels its content campaign, so we'll add that. The workflow now runs on campaign-labeled pages and ignores everything else in the space. Click Apply. Now add the new review step. In the workflow view, add a state and call it Brand Review. Open it and you're in the state view, where you can set the state's name, description, and an expiry due date if you want the review to be time-boxed. Give it an approval. Click Approvals, then the Approval button and the Edit Approval panel opens. Name it Brand Check and assign it to the brand team so they're notified when a brief reaches this step. Now set up the transitions so briefs move through the new path. A state's approved and reject transitions are only available once it has an approval, so add these after the approval is in place. In the draft state, add an approved transition and set its destination to Brand Review. This moves a brief to the brand team once it clears its first approval. The Navigator updates as you go, so you can see the path change. Click Save in the Navigator panel, then Exit. Now let's test the workflow. Open a brief tag campaign. It enters the workflow and stops at Brand Review, where the brand team is notified. When they approve, it moves to Published. If they reject it, it returns to Draft. To check the document activity, go to your Confluence page, click the byline to open the workflow dialog, and select Document Activity. It logs each transition and approval, so you have a record of who reviewed the brief and when. That's how you customize a workflow in the Visual Builder editor. Visit our documentation center at support.appfire.com to learn more. Thanks for watching.